All right, now let's talk about the ITTOs. First, the inputs. The first in the input is project management plan. So let's look at its components. There are two. The first one is schedule management plan. To define the activities, you need the schedule methodology, the duration of waves for rolling wave planning, and the level of detail necessary to manage the work. The schedule management plan will have all this information. The second one is scope baseline. While defining the activities, components of scope baselines such as project WBS, deliverables, constraints, and assumptions are some of the key inputs. The next one is enterprise environmental factors. Let's look at the elements. Published commercial information from commercial database. Culture and structure of an organization can influence the way the projects are managed and executed. The level of maturity of project management within the organization and the project management process in place can also impact how smoothly a project can be carried out. As discussed earlier, projects considered to be aligned with the organization culture may have smoother implementation and higher success rate than projects that challenges the cultural norms. The last one is project management information system. All right, the next input is organization process asserts. Existing formal and informal activity planning related to policies, procedures, and guidelines, such as the scheduling methodology that are considered in developing the activity definition, lessons learned repository containing historical information regarding activity list used by previous similar projects, templates that contain a standard activity list or a portion of an activity list from the previous project, and standardized process or some of the organizational process asserts that are used as inputs. Let's look at the tools and techniques. First, expert judgment. For this process, the experts are the experienced people from similar projects. The next tools and technique is decomposition. In Create WBS, the final output are defined as deliverables, but in defined activities, the final output are defined as activities. Each work package is decomposed into the activities required to produce the work package deliverables. The WBS and WBS dictionary used as basis for development of the final activity list. Involving the team member in the decomposition can lead to better and more accurate results. The third in the list is rolling wave planning. People often get confused between progressive elaboration and rolling wave planning. So let's discuss about that first. Progressive elaboration is a characteristics of a project, whereas rolling wave planning is a technique based out of progressive elaboration. Let's look at an example. How you decided to take the PMP examination? Maybe your friend would have told you about PMP, or when you are looking for a job, the job profile may ask for PMP certification, or your manager or your seniors would have told you about the PMP certification and the benefits. So you decided to take up this examination. At the initial stage itself, did you have a detailed plan with all the steps to get the certificate? No. Initially, you would have had only an idea, at least at the high level goal, to pass the PMP examination and get the certificate. Similarly, during the start of the project, you may not have all the information that is required to achieve the goal. As the project progresses, you get more information, and based on those information, you start making the detailed plan. You elaborate the plan step by step progressively. So, with each successive iteration of the planning process, the project plan becomes more elaborate and more complete. This approach of planning is called progressive elaboration. Progressive elaboration is all about detailing out the plan as and when more information is available. Now let's understand what is rolling wave planning. Let's say you decided to surf in the sea. You get ready with your surfing board. At this stage, will you make a detailed plan on how to cross all the waves that you pass by? Absolutely not. You start crossing each wave step by step as it comes, don't you? Similarly, in a project, you plan to deliver the nearest short-term deliverable. For the rest of the project, you have only a high-level plan. You focus only on the near-term deliverables and act on it. That's called rolling wave planning. So, rolling wave planning is all about we cross the bridge when it comes. For time being, let's keep crossing the hurdles. All right, the next one is milestone. Milestone are the significant events within the total project schedule. They're not work activities, so there is no duration. Project gate or stage gate could be a milestone. Initial milestones are documented in the project charter. The project manager can also insert milestone as checkpoints that helps to control the project. If a milestone in the schedule is reached and any of the planned work has not been completed, yes, you are right. It indicates the project is not progressing as planned. The milestone list is part of project documents. All right, now the next one is meetings. Objective of this meeting is to define the activities for the work to be completed. Meetings may be face-to-face, virtual, formal, or informal. Meetings may be held with the team members or subject matter experts to define the activities needed to complete the work. All right, now let's talk about the outputs. First, activity list. Let's start with the overview. Activity list is nothing but the list of activities to be carried out to complete the project. The activity list typically includes an activity identifier, scope of work description with all relevant details such as predecessor and successor. This will be helpful for the project team member to understand what work is required to be completed. Rolling wave planning or agile techniques are used to update the activity list. This is done periodically as the project progresses. Activity list in current context. Of course, activity lists with their work description for each activity with sufficient details get updated here. The next one is activity attributes. Let's look at the overview first. Synonyms to attributes is characteristics. Activity attributes are the characteristics of an activity. The more the attributes to an activity, obviously you know more information about the activity. So naturally, you will have a better control. Those activities become easy to find, easy to monitor the progress, and easy to communicate. They're like identification of a person. We identify the person by name, right? But let's say there are multiple people with the same name. What do? We start describing more about him or her, right? For example, tall, thin, curly hair, etc. During the planning phase for an activity, you assign the identifier based on the work breakdown structure, WBS, an activity label or a name. As the project progresses, there will be more and more information available about everything. To find it easier and track the activity, you add activity description, predecessor activities, successor activities, logical relationships, lead and lag, the resources assigned to the activity, the imposed dates such as start, end, constraints, assumptions, where the work will be performed, the activity assigned date, the type of effort involved, etc. etc. Now, activity attributes in current context. Defined activities will have the activity attributes such as discussed earlier, constraints, assumptions, imposed date, resource assigned, etc. etc. These activity attributes are useful for schedule development and for selecting, ordering, and sorting the plan in various ways, and they get updated here. The next one is milestone list. Let's look at the overview of milestone list. A milestone list is a significant point or event in the project. As we discussed earlier, the milestone list identifies all important key milestones in the project. Here we are talking about the milestone list, not the individual milestone. So remember, the milestone list provides key events list in the project. Milestones have zero duration because they represent a significant point or event. Remember, they don't represent duration because duration of a milestone is always zero. Now, milestone in current context. Upon defining activities, certain activities are grouped together with specific date of completion. These are all called milestones. The project will have multiple milestones. The next in the list is change request. Once the project has been baselined, the progressive elaboration of deliverables may reveal more information about the activities or work which are not part of project baselines. So, this results in change request. The next output is project management plan updates. Schedule baseline and cost baseline are the two components that are updated here. Let's look at them. First, schedule baseline. As and when more information is available, the work package are progressively elaborated into activities. This is done throughout the project. During this process, you may reveal work which is not part of original plan. These new activities can impact the delivery date and other project milestone. So you may have to change the schedule baseline. The second and the final one is cost baseline. Approved changes in schedule activities will bring in change in estimated cost, so the cost baseline should be updated. All right, that wraps up ITTOs. Let's move to the next process.